Here in Milwaukee, we've always had a lot of bands, but there just hasn't been a lot of bands where I've really been able to get behind and really enjoy. But this next project is an album that's really resonating with me, one I've really come to love since its release back in 2015. And that project is called Cannabinol Synapse. The album is called Those Who Hear But Which Do Not See, and it's a project of John Leedke. John has a pretty long history of playing in heavy metal bands. I mean, I've known John for a number of years, and we're, pretty good friends. We don't see each other too often, but we always get along when we see each other. And John's main background is playing guitar in, like, grindcore, death metal, and black metal bands. But he's also a very talented synth player and theremin player, which is the main components in Cannabinol Synapse music. So, this is, I don't know, it was released back in 2015, but the project first started performing live as far back as 2010. John basically was oftentimes the opening act for, like, noise, black metal, and doom metal bands, and every time he played, I think he really connected with the audience, because I think it's something that, people that are interested in that kind of music can really get behind. The music is basically like a mixture of old 70s horror soundtracks, like think like Goblin and the soundtracks that Fabio Frizzi created for all those awesome zombie movies back in the 70s, and you kind of get a good idea of what's going on in this record. There's also a very notable influence from like old school krautrock and progressive rock from the 70s. So think like stuff like Tangerine Dream and Pink Floyd and Genesis, just minus the rock and roll elements, and you got a pretty good idea what this record sounds like. There's 3 songs in this record, and all three songs are pretty damn long, and John just really captures that, like, vintage sound, and he's an extraordinarily talented synth player and really amazing theremin player, too, which is kind of an unexpected thing. I'm not really aware of any other projects that really use the theremin in their music, so it's really cool that it's a major part of this band's sound, and I mean, if you're not familiar with the theremin, it adds this sort of really weird kind of spooky, like, I guess, like, Halloween-y kind of sound to it. So it's perfect for, like, that horror soundtrack and those kind of vibes. And that's, what's going on in this record. It's a lot of that. And it's, I've seen John perform this music many times, and every time I've been blown away by his live performance. Because he creates, a really great just wall of sound with this stuff. And there's no, like, as far as I know, I don't think there's any backup tracks or anything when he's playing live. It's just a nice, just, wave of synths and theremin, and he nails it. It's amazing when he does. So it's a great freaking record. There's a really special atmosphere to this record. It really, like I said earlier, sounds very vintage. It takes you back to those old school soundtracks in those records from the 70s. So I mean, like I said, he just totally nails it. I mean, it's got that sort of just it's sort of, I mean, I don't want to say hokey, but it's hokey and vintage sounding. That's probably the best way I could do it. It just reminds me of those movies I watched many years ago. And I mean, if you listen to this stuff, I think you'll get the same vibes. You're going to pick up on those, those vibes, these movies you heard many years ago when you were, just kids or, young adults, whatever. It's really great stuff. And I mean, I love what John does in this record. I'm really hoping he makes some more music. I haven't seen him perform live in a while, so I hope the project isn't, like, fading away or anything, but this is just really great stuff. Really just obscure, kind of scary, Halloween-y, horror kind of atmosphere to this record. Really unique, different from, like, kind of what you'd usually expect from, a more, a thin, synth-driven record. It's really interesting and special, and, it's not necessarily, I guess, like, super dark or anything like that. I mean, it's dark, but not like in like a dark ambient kind of way, I guess. It's different, and it's definitely something that's really really unique, and yeah, I mean, it's just he really pull, go take that time, work back those old albums, those old vibes and stuff like that. He just nails it. It's a great record. So the album is released on what is called Korean Hanji paper. I don't have any clue what Korean Hanji paper is, but it's very delicate, and how the print got in here, I'm not really sure, but it's really cool. So it comes in this basically Korean Hanji paper digipack, which opens up, and then the CD is in there. Oops, probably shouldn't drop the album because it is delicate. So then there's a CDR with the Cannabinol Synapse logo on it. There's is a small insert which has all the song titles as well as basic recording information. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a CD packaging, which was definitely done with, probably saved John a lot of money doing it this way, but it's very unique and special, which is, very admirable, obviously, and I love it. I mean, I've always noted how I love special, unique packaging. This is the first. I don't have any other albums in Korean Hanji papers, so very cool and very special album that I've come to enjoy very much since its release, and I hope John makes more music, because this is fucking fantastic stuff. Just great vintage horror, prog rock, krautrock kind of sounding stuff, and then heavily synth driven, and with that theremin, it's just really, really unique atmosphere in it. So definitely check it out. That's Cannabinol Synapse.